I want to talk about the training today that nobody really puts on a poster. Almost everybody who walks through our doors has some form of physical goal. They want to lose weight. They want to build some muscle. They want to look better for a holiday. They want to get stronger. They want to play with their grandkids in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, 30 years' time. All of these are amazing reasons, and they are always going to be the reasons that are the catalyst for people to get started with the gym. And here's the thing, I suppose, that I've watched happen over and over and over again in the years that I've been doing this. And it's almost never the reason that occurs in the intro process that we do. Like, nobody walks in and says to me that the biggest change I want to see is going to be in my head. It's how they feel. It's not necessarily their body, it's how they carry themselves. And we've seen this hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of times now, where people join for a very valid physical reason. They want to be stronger, they want to lose weight, so on and so forth. But over time, that becomes secondary to the feeling they have about the new person they have become. And they have become that person. They are now infinitely more confident and infinitely more assured of themselves. And I think that's huge. But it's really hard to put that on a poster, right? So it's like when we're advertising it, we can't really talk about how, if you do this stuff in 3 years' time, you're going to be so much prouder of yourself. You're going to carry yourself in a different way. That's not really going to get anybody to come down and have a conversation with us, right? They want the weight loss. They want the muscle. They want the instant things that they can point to, right? But honestly, it's real. And it's backed by, genuinely a very seriously, good body of research. And I want to talk about it honestly today, including where the line is, because look, I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist. And that distinction matters when it comes to anything here. It's the same reason why we escalate certain injuries to physios, the same reason why certain medicines are prescribed by doctors and not by personal trainers. The distinction matters, and that line matters, and we will talk about that as we kind of dive into it. So I'll start off by talking just a little bit of, what it looks like on the ground. It's not really dramatic. It's not like somebody joins and then the next day they come in, all of a sudden they're walking like they're 10 foot tall. It never happens like that. It's quiet, but it's consistent. It's the person who came in purely to lose weight, who was stressed out of their mind with work. They have a hard job. They're trying to balance family, busy home life with young kids. Like, you're listening to this and this could be you and it could be anybody. And yeah, let's say the weight comes off. After 90 days, their in-body score has improved. They're down in body fat and they're up in muscle mass. But the thing they actually talk about now is how the training has become their time. The hour, the 45 minutes of the day, of the week that shifts, that becomes theirs. It's the place where the phone is down, it's away, and the noise stops, and they're just focusing on themselves. And that's not something they valued before they came in, because they didn't know it could exist. They were too busy with everything else in life to even care about it. But it's the one thing that now that they're in it, they can't give up. And those of you who are members, maybe that resonates a lot with you, right? It's also, a person who arrives really nervous, right? Apologizing for themselves, apologizing for not knowing the terms in the gym, and maybe wondering if they even belong in a gym, if this is a place for them at all. And watching that person over a few months, it's not just them getting stronger, it's them opening up and not being quiet and not hiding away, and instead contributing to the buzz of a class, contributing to the conversation, making friends, and just carrying themselves like someone who has the proof that they can now actually do hard things. And it's because they do have the proof now. They collect it every single session that they come in to do it. And then also there's people who, join us and they're going through genuinely rough patches in life, who will tell you flat out that the gym is the only thing keeping them steady. It could be a breakup, it could be, loss, it could be anything, right? But it's the gym again being that 1 hour where they can go and it's their hour and they can distract themselves. It's a place where you can leave everything at the door. And it's not that we're forgetting about our problems. Our problems are still going to be there when we eventually have to step outside again, when we eventually have to leave. But for that hour, we're escaping. It's that escapism feeling. It's the time when we're able to focus on ourselves and channel and do something positive even in our darkest moments. And I think that's cool. But I suppose, like, none of these people actually came in for their head. They all joined. They came in for something to do with their body. It was something physical. But their head is where the change that they treasure most actually landed. And once you've seen that, a few hundred, if not 1,000 times, like me, you stop treating it as a nice side effect and start realizing that maybe it's the main event. Because if people have started to shift mentally, they'll never really have to do a huge physical shift again. Because if the mentality has changed around their fitness and around their body and their relationship with exercise and health, well, then they're never going to have to get started again. They're never going to have to find the motivation to go again because it's something that they've already worked on and they now know the value of having that time for them. And they also know that they have the ability to do it because they've done it and they have that proof. So I no longer view it as a side effect. I think it is the most important thing that we can do for people, is giving you that confidence in yourself and giving you that place where you can be truly yourself. And look, I have to be careful with claims on this podcast. I don't want to be somebody on the internet just spouting like extremist claims to try get clicks and views and likes and fans and things like that. So I want to be clear, this is not me guessing. There is research on this, and the mental well-being associated with training is genuinely strong. And it's worth knowing why it works, because I think when you understand it, you'll believe me more. It's not just me talking about these stories of people that I've seen over the years, because there's actually evidence behind it. And there's a few things going on at once, and they actually stack on top of each other. So the first is the actual chemical reason of what's happening. And this is the one that people have heard of, right? It's when you train, your body releases a mix of brain chemicals, endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, that all lift the mood and take the edge off, to be perfectly honest. The moment when you have that, I feel better now than when I walked in the door moment. And that feeling after every session is not actually imagination. It is the chemistry of what's going on in your brain, and it is reliable. You know it's coming, it's there. So that's the first one. That's the chemical one. The second, and this is the one I think that matters the most, is that training stresses your nervous system. It stresses you all the time and over time. Regular exercise actually seems to turn down your body's stress response. It is almost like practice. It's like the footballer who practices the free kick 100 times over so that when they get to the game, they're just trying to execute on what they have done 100 times over. Every time you put your body through, controlled, manageable stress at the gym, like lifting something heavy, pushing through, the hard set, you are teaching your nervous system that stress can come and then it can pass. And the research is suggesting that regularly active people cope better with everyday stress, and that a bad moment, while it will still knock them, it actually knocks you back less than it knocks back people who don't train, because you're used to putting yourself under pressure and bouncing back. You are, in a real sense, in this case, rehearsing resilience. And I guess that's what last week's episode was about too, which was, choosing resistance and not always choosing the easy path. By coming here, you are choosing resistance and you are training yourself for life's hard moments. The third thing is sleep. Like training reliably improves sleep for a lot of people, and sleep is downstream of everything, right? Better sleep means a steadier mood. You're going to have more patience for those around you. You're going to have a longer fuse. You're not going to be snapping as quick. And sometimes the mental benefit of the gym is just that you sleep better and therefore you handle your Tuesday better when people are just pissing you off. And then the fourth is actually just is pure strength training itself, and it's self-efficacy. It's the belief that you can do hard things. And, I think that's a mantra that, people share more and more these days is I can do hard things. And that belief is actually very important. When you add weight to the bar that you could not lift a month ago, that's not just physical progress. It's undeniable physical proof that you're capable more than you thought. You're capable more today than you were a month ago. You're capable more today than you were a week ago. And your brain does not just keep that proof in the gym, it leaks out. You start to carry yourself different because you're a more physically capable person than you were before. So the way you walk around, you're taller, you pulled your shoulder blades back, you're more confident, you own the room, all of these things. The person who knows they can do the hard set starts to suspect that they can handle the harder conversation, the hard week, the hard session. Confidence is built on evidence. And that barbell hands you the evidence every single week that you can do hard things and that you are a very physically capable person. So it is the chemistry plus a calmer stress system plus better sleep plus the proof that you can do hard things and that you are capable. That's not a soft benefit. That's a stack of real mechanisms all pointing in the same way, which is you being more mentally resilient and stronger. And I guess this is where we have to draw the line, right? Because as I said at the start, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychotherapist. There's many things I'm not. I am a coach, and this is where we have to draw the line clearly, because I think this is the kind of topic where people can overpromise, and I have to obviously stay away from that. Training is not therapy, and there is a role for therapy in everything. Training is also not medication. It is not a treatment for depression or anxiety or any clinical condition. And I am definitely not qualified to tell you that it is, because I am a coach. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. If you are genuinely struggling and if things are dark, the strongest and smartest thing you can do is talk to a mental health professional. That is not failure. That is the exact right move. And the one that I would want anyone I care about to make. Because yes, the gym can be an amazing thing for headspace, but when you start burning the candle at both ends and trying to push yourself more and more in here to chase more and more endorphins because your darker thoughts are catching up on you, that's the time where you realize that maybe this has become a bit of a crutch. And I think that's when we need to kind of have that clear line that, when you're in a good stage, and like for everybody, when we're in like a pretty well moment of life, there is so many benefits to the mental side of doing physical training. But when things have gone a little bit beyond that, there is a very distinct need for outside intervention. So what I'm saying is different, and I do want to try and be precise about that. For a normal day, for a normal weight of life, the stress, the general low patches that everybody encounters, the grind, training is one of the most reliable levers that you can use to feel better. And it sits alongside the other really good things in life that give us a boost, sleep, people, sunlight, right? Purpose. It's not the whole answer, but it's an incredibly powerful piece to the jigsaw that is the answer. And the piece that most people are leaving completely untouched when we look at the amount of people involved in physical activity. It's incredibly low. You're listening to this podcast, so you're probably someone who likes exercise, but there's so many out there who don't understand the power that it can have for the brain, and they get themselves into a rut and they get into arguments on Wicklow Town open forum and start fighting people in the comments section. And look, here's the obvious, honest caveat, like within that, because we talked about it last episode. More is not always better, and this is what I was trying to allude to earlier. Hammering yourself into the ground with no recovery does not make you happier. It actually burns you out and will drag your mood down because you're not allowing the mental benefit to actually come from the sustainable regular training, the recovery where you're feeling really good. It doesn't come from punishing yourself. The goal is not endless suffering, it is consistent, manageable movement that leaves you better than it found you. So, listen, if there's serious stuff going on, seek a professional. Use training as the powerful everyday tool that it genuinely is, and understand that both things are true at the same time and both have a very important place in our society. So, if you do actually want to use training for your head, not just your body, here's how to think about it. First, try to reframe why you're showing up. If you only ever justify the gym by what it does to your waistline, I think you're underselling it to yourself. And the days that the scale does not move in the right direction will feel like a failure, but I think you're then discounting everything on the other side. We need to start counting the other wins as well as the ones that appear on the in-body scan or the scales. Did you sleep better this week? Was your fuse a little bit longer? Did you get an hour where the noise stopped and you were able to focus on you? Those are not consolation prizes for a lot of people. They are the main prize. And noticing them is what keeps you coming back, because at some point you're going to reach a level of physical prowess and a level of physical fitness that is undeniable, and it's going to be the best you've ever had. And there's probably going to be a point where it can't really get too much better, right? So you can either choose to keep chasing that idea of perfection, or you can be happy with the physical side and now start to just enjoy and reap the benefits of the mental side. So the second thing then you can do after that reframe is to protect your consistency over intensity. Mental benefits come from the regularity of the routine, from showing up far more than any single brutal session. So it's like, yeah, you could come in for 2 hours and bury yourself and, have to spend the afternoon on the couch, but that's not really going to make you feel any better. 2 or 3 manageable sessions a week that you can actually keep to beats this one heroic week where you showed up and did 2 times a day and, then had to spend the weekend just in bed because you were so tired, right? Consistency is the whole game for your body, and also I would say doubly for the head. And then the third thing I would highlight is to, use the social side on purpose. A lot of the benefit is not actually in the barbell at all. It's being in a room of other people, being noticed and being part of something. It's the third place concept, right? It's, if you're training on your own, and I've experienced this a lot as well when when my classes are full and I can't steal a spot from my members, when you're training on your own, you can feel kind of flat and there's a missing piece, and it's because training around people does something for you that training alone does not. It gives you feeling, it gives you people, especially because not many people, as I alluded to earlier, there's not enough people in the world doing physical fitness. We are the minority. So it's nice to be surrounded by other people who care about it as much as you do, when, as soon as you step outside of here, it's a completely different world and you're back to being the minority. The last thing then I would say, just in terms of things you can do, is pay attention to the self-efficacy. Let the progress mean something to you. When you hit a lift that you could not do before, don't just tick it off and try to think about what's the next goal. Register it. It's the proof that you can do hard things, that you are more capable than you were yesterday. Don't just chalk it off as one thing. Carry it with you out the door. That's the thing that matters most, and it's free, and it's going to give you so much belief and confidence in yourself. And so if there's something that I can get you all to take from this, it's, you might have to come to the gym, or you might be thinking about coming for your body, to lose the weight, to build the muscle, to look the way you want to look when you go on holidays. And look, all of that is great. Good. Keep coming for that. Start for that. But do not be surprised when you end up treasuring something else far more than that. Do not be surprised when the real celebration turns out to be how you now handle your busy weeks at work, and how all of a sudden you feel like you have more energy. You feel like you can show up more for the people that matter in your life. You feel like a steadier version of you, a quiet proof that you've collected one session at a time that you can handle more than you thought you could. I can't put that on a poster. I can only point to you guys on the floor as the stronger, more capable, and just more confident version of you than you were when I met you very first time, sitting over there behind me probably. Train for your body, for sure. There's huge benefit in that. Just don't be shocked when it changes your head. And if you do need a little bit of a rejig or a little bit of a remoment, book in your Go review with us. If you're not a member already and this all sounds amazing, just come on in. We'll have a conversation. No judgments, just an honest chat to see if we're going to be the right fit for you. And that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Remember, keep coming for the body, but I know you're going to stay for your head. Have a great day. Have a great week. And I will catch you on the next episode.